Good morning, testing, testing. So he said it's good. So then we'll check on public comment. Good morning. I see Audit LA on the line. Do you have general public comment and comment on our agenda items today?
Good morning, Mr. Tursky. Yes, I would like general public and all items, please.
Wonderful. We will get to you when we get started.
Thank you.
Bright green.
How nice is this? So everybody gets 60 seconds to speak? Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Okay. Diane. Hi, John. How are you? Because that's the only one that has my phone in me. Well, it is. It's the only one that has my phone. No, it's just that nobody else is. They want to do this one, so I don't know.
Good morning. Thank you for everyone joining us in person and on the Zoom platform. I'm going to do a call for hands raised before we get started shortly. Good morning, Laura. Do you have general public comment or comment on any of our items?
Yes, please. General public and all items, please.
Thank you. And Georgina, good morning. I see you have your hand raised. Do you have general public comment or comment on any of our items today?
Public comment and all agenda items, please.
Great, thank you. All right, let me put us into record mode. Okay, President Kang, we're now recording and can get started.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, February 4th, 2026. Ms. Zatorsky, please take roll and establish quorum.
Of course. Good morning, everyone. Devin Zatorsky with the Board of Public Works, taking role in establishing quorum. We're joined by President Kang, Vice President Chavez, President Pro Tem Grant, Commissioner Mitchell, and Commissioner Cardenas. We're also joined by our City Attorney Representative, Ms. Virginia Choi. We do have public comment today and multiple item commentary, all on the Zoom platform only today, and no neighborhood council comments.
Thank you very much. We will get started with general public comment, which is an opportunity for the public to address the board on public interest items and will be provided up to 1 minute per person, up to a cumulative total of 10 minutes for the general public comment segment of each regular meeting. Testimony shall be limited in content to subject matters which are within the jurisdiction of the Board of Public Works. The board may not take any action on any matters discussed during the public comment period. We do not have any in-person speakers, so we will transition to our virtual platform.
Okay, our first caller, Audit LA. Good morning. You'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Good morning, everyone. I want to start off, I did ask before, I wanted to ask for an investigation into what happened with the shrine, what went wrong, and why the Bureau of Street Services did collude with CD9 and LAPD to create an area where the sidewalks were, they were partially closed to only open to the public that lived there, not to the general public, which is illegal. It goes against your page 2. The city attorney's office has already ruled on that no, you cannot close. It is unconstitutional to close the entire sidewalk to a passing public. But they did it, and they had Scientologists, checking everyone's ID to see whether or not they belonged in that block and to go down that street. And I don't know in what world that Scientology gets to decide whether or not I get to go down a street or not. So I am asking you to please, this is something that really needs to be addressed. It needs to be looked at, like what went wrong. Fix
Thank
it
you,
if it's
caller.
internally.
That's time.
Thank you.
Our next caller is Laura FM. Laura, you'll have 1 minute for general public comment.
Hi, good morning, board. Again, I would like to bring up the revocable permit that L. Ron Hubbard Way. They have a street that is named literally from a cult human trafficking abusive organization that has been getting away with this, as you know, as we've been talking about this for the last 3 years. And so we would like that to be able to be put on the board on as an option for people to vote or it to be looked into specifically because they're not paying their insurance that they should be paying, and there's many other fees. And the reason they're using the L. Ron Hubbard naming and all of that is because of their manipulative tactics of pretending they own the whole neighborhood in the city. So please, can we get that revocable permit to get rid of L. Ron Hubbard Way and put it back to North Berendo Street? Please, please, please get that on the, or give us the option for that to be. And then also, if you can stop giving Scientology permits,
Thank you,
that would
caller.
be
That's
amazing.
time.
See ya.
Okay, our next caller is Georgina. And Georgina, good morning. You'll have 1 minute for general.
Good morning. Thank you. Yeah, the fact that they were IDing people, you're not allowed to have a guest that day. You can only use a public street owned by the public if you lived on that street. What if you had a guest? What if you had a delivery? What if you wanted to order in pizza? You're not allowed to have services on a day where Scientology happens to be doing something on that block that day. That's ridiculous. It's amazing that you have allowed this to happen. And their revocable permit absolutely needs to be revoked. They should be denied all permits as a consequence of their excessive abuses of every single permit they've been given. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. All right, President King, that is the end of our hands raised for general public comment.
Thank you very much. With that, we will close general public comment and move forward with multiple agenda item public comment. The board will provide an opportunity for members of the public wishing to speak on more than one agenda item during multiple agenda item comment period for up to a minute per item, up to a total of 3 minutes. Today, we only have the minutes and one agenda item, so you have up to 2 minutes for this meeting. This is the only time to speak on more than one agenda item, and please identify the items that you will speak on when you are called. We do not have any in-person speakers, so we will transition to our virtual platform.
Okay, Audit LA, I see you have your hand raised. You'll have 2 minutes. Please let us know which items.
Good morning. Let's start with the agenda item, I guess number one first. We're talking sidewalk and street amenities. Amenities sounds great. That sounds fancy and upscale. What we really need is just sidewalks and streets that are paved, that are passable. I am already going on my fourth set of wheels for a chair I've only had not less than a year. It's just insane. People go with me, they get shocked how I just like I can't navigate much of it. So I don't need amenities because actually the amenities actually block things. It blocks my travel because a lot of times there's not enough room and the sidewalk is bad. But the other sidewalk I want to talk about is on L. Ron Hubbard Way, and amenities there is that if you go down there, especially if you're a former Scientologist that wants to just go back to maybe heal and relive the crimes against you, that you're going to be chased away. You're going to be intimidated by guards, Scientology guards who do not have a contract with the city to guard L. Ron Hubbard Way street or sidewalks. Their job is inside their property. That's the only place that they have any authority, but they want to bring authority out to the street, and it needs to stop. It needs to be investigated. I don't know if it needs to be just through Public Works or LADOT, or if you need to do a joint task force to make it stop, but there cannot be a street in America anywhere where the citizens feel intimidated to go down, especially people who are victims or who, or anyone. No one should be intimidated. The nurses at Kaiser who want to pass through, people who want to go through, protest, whoever, nobody should be intimidated. It needs to stop. As far as the minutes, I'm really glad you're getting Granicus. I hope you utilize it to its full potential with the minutes because I think it's really important. And it's not anything about, oh, we want to it's to see what we were saying. No, we just want it documented
Thank you,
that
caller.
we've been persistent with
That's
this.
time.
Thank you.
Our next caller is Laura FM. Laura, you'll have 2 minutes for minutes in item number 1.
Thank you. I'm going to also echo Audit LA's comment there just now. And again, with the minutes, same with the just being able to have something that shows, that the public call in and but put in there exactly what it is. There's a system now that you'll be able to use, and hopefully that will do that. But it's one thing if you feel like, oh, you're just, you can't really do anything, or you got something going on, and sometimes the permits and all this shit takes time, and maybe you're sitting there like thinking you can't do anything. These are certain things you can do. It helps people like me who were raised in the cult of Scientology to show that, look, these are the things that they're doing, infiltrating public works and the city sidewalks and stuff like that, by having fake programs, fake permits, fake street names, all of this. All of it does wind up on you guys and on the Board of Public Works. So I really do appreciate the whole thing with the minutes, and that you do have Granicus now to be able to reflect that, because we need that reflection as the children born and raised in this fucking cult that have destroyed our families. We need that reflection so that later we can go and show the judges and the court people what legally what's going on, and why Scientology is so manipulative and abusive in public works in the city. So thank you for that, and I yield my time. Please revoke their permit on L. Ron Hubbard Way.
Thank you, caller. Our next caller is Georgina. Georgina, you'll have 2 minutes for minutes and item number 1.
Yeah, I'd like to speak on minutes first. I'm super excited about the prospects that will come with Granicus. I expect great things from you guys. As far as your YouTube channel goes, the fact that every video has the exact same name, I mean, I'm just asking bare minimum from you guys. Throw in a date, make those records researchable. How are you supposed to look up anything when you have thousands of videos, each with the exact same title? That's really shoddy workmanship. I expect better. I'm just asking for bare minimum. As far as agenda item number 1, sidewalk repairs and sidewalk amenities. You know what amenity I would like to see? I would like the public sidewalk to be publicly accessible to people. The fact that they deny access to the public on a public sidewalk, what gives them the right? They don't own the sidewalk. It's ridiculous. You need to do better. Thank you. I yield back my time.
Thank you, caller. All right, President King, that's the end of our hands raised on the Zoom platform. I believe we have one.
Thank you very much. I know we closed general public comment, but multiple is open, and so I want to call up Jill Scientology. You have up to 2 minutes, since we only have 2.
Thank you. The reason why I'm late is because our public work is doing a great job. So I'm very happy I lose my minutes because I'm seeing our public work is doing the real work. So that's why the bus is delayed. So stop talking about the minutes is that I'm here to support our public work directors, because in the past year, actually past several years, I've heard multiple comments attacking on all department officials, protest on all department appointment, or whether it's LAPD chief, the public work director, the mayor, the city council. Those are criminal protesters. They are just never happy with anyone, with anything. So I am here. I'm the only one in Los Angeles who want to voice our support that our public work department needs improvement. There are room for improvement, but at least I want to voice my support to all agency directors in public works, even though I am the only one who support them. Number 2, let's talking about the sidewalk issues. Yes, sidewalk issues. Again, I'm here to support our Bureau of Street Services, Bureau of Sanitation. They need improvement, but they are doing a decent job. I want to give them a huge round of applause. And then one of my friends, DOA, one of my brother, DOA, actually lost his van due to his ex-wife is a theft or whatever, and then they steal his van, and then the van was actually broken because of the broken sidewalk or because of the broken street surfaces, right? So definitely, I really wish my friend DOA can get his truck back, and I definitely wish that in the future, when we have an old cheap car, we don't have to damage our car just driving on the surface of the street. Support public work. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other speakers on the queue?
No.
All right,
hands raised.
thank you very much. With that, we will close multiple item public comment portion of today's meeting and move forward with the approval of minutes for Monday, January 26, 2026. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Seeing no other discussion, is there a first and a second?
So move. Second.
First by President Pro Tem Grant, seconded by Commissioner Cardenas.
We will take the roll call, starting with you, President Kang,
Aye.
Vice President Chavez,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Grant,
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell, and Commissioner Cardenas.
All right.
Great, all ayes, the minutes are approved.
Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item number 1, Sidewalk and Transit Amenities Program from the Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning. Good morning, President Kang, commissioners, and city representative. I'm here today my name is Kenneth Tang. I am the contract administrator for our Sidewalk Transit Amenity Program. Today, we're here to provide an oral presentation and then give you some update on the previous 2 quarters, starting July 1st to the end of the calendar year. And we wanted to provide context for 3 major items, right? First one is relating to the overall structure of the contract. How are we doing? Is this new contract work? And yes, that's the bottom line of that one. The second piece is the implementation and rollout pace. How are we doing? Are we improving? And the answer is also yes in that one. And the third and final piece, and there's a lot of focus from you all for maintenance. And we also here to provide you some updated result from our audit and present you with the number and the recommendation on how to proceed. With that, starting off with the contract. For those of you who are not aware, STAP contract is very innovative and very new. We are receiving over 65.5% of revenue on each of the advertisement revenue. The rest go to the contractor to maintain and sell advertisement. And this is a new model. And the only caveat for this particular contract is we have to invest in initial capital. With that said, the number that have been showing is very promising. Over the past 2 quarters that reported, we have over $7.38 million reported in as a revenue from the advertisement. That's portion that come to the city. And that is the highest we ever received for any 2 consecutive quarters in the entire history of the program. The other number that I want to show is that since the beginning of the contract in 2022-2023, we have received over $36 million. This number is significant because that is represent over 40% of what the previous contract was able to make over 20 years. So 3 years, we already more than almost halfway through the what the previous contract was able to make. So the bottom line here is that this structure work, and you see in the revenue that is continue to grow, and we anticipate to continue to grow in the coming year as we build out more structure. We anticipate we can bring up to $60 million for the city when fully built out in 2032. The next item I want to talk about a little bit is the pace of implementations. The goal for the program is to put in 3,000 transit shelter, 450 shade structure, and a bunch of other amenities as part of the STAP program. So that's why it's important for us to create a process and a pace that we can sustain with the funding, right? And I'm happy to report that we, for the most part, have resolved the logistic of each department and process to get the location built and install the shelter. There are some administrative and there's some other smaller resource issue with various departments that continue to be the pipeline and constraint for the program to fully roll out. But at least we have the process established. We're not figuring out for the first time. It's become a more steady rate. Now we're working on controlling that pace. I also happy to report that during that quarter, we also resolved a pending CEQA challenge to the program. So those are fully resolved, and that's allow our program to get more freedom to actually do a lot of what we need to do for the program. Um, we also increase capacity. We had funded 12 position at BSL, which allow us to increase the ability for us to access BSL lighting and repair to our shelter. And we are hitting over 200 service requests that BSL support us on, meaning we also help fix light as part of our program. So it's not just shelter program. We also bring some of the light infrastructure back online. I'm also happy to report that we continue to build partnership with Metro, who is one of the largest transit operator in the region. And that partnership include integrating our shelter design into their bus rapid transit corridor along Vermont and NoHo to Pasadena corridor. What that means is they will be using our transit shelter on those stations, allowing us to put advertisement on those platforms. So it's that's investment into the initial capital for the program that we continue to sustain and use advertisement to continue to maintain them. We are working on finalizing the detail. Those will come to you once we have all the maintenance and the final agreement in place with Metro. But it's an exciting collaboration with Metro, and we want to have a uniform look and feel across the region that this is a bus stop. The final thing that I want to bring up is the program is rolling forward, and we anticipate we will meet our goal this year. There are some constraints around material procurement. It's a nationwide issue, but we anticipate we will be able to resolve those quickly and bring to the goal for the year. Finally, the meat of the report, the maintenance. And this is something that we are very thorough in our investigation, so that we present to you with fact and with a matrix that can represent the actual issue at hand. So from our analysis so far, we see there is a dramatic increase in the number of requests and maintenance issue at bus stop. Unfortunately, this is not just at bus stop. Bus stop doesn't live in that isolated bubble. This is a citywide kind of issue. That increase in vandalism and other type of requests is generally trending across the city. But let me just report on staff program for the last 2 quarters. Over the last 2 quarters, we have over 3,000 vandalism requests open and close. Graffiti specifically and sticker on those shelter, we have over 2,157 report and address. We also have quite a few broken glass and panel repair that happen at these bus stop, over 900 of those. So overall, the last 2 quarters is following the same trends that we saw over the past 5 years. And I can go into more detail about the overall trend as well as part of the audit report. But the last 2 quarters, total over 6,500 service requests were received and closed. That's averaging more than 1,000 per month. So it is a big haul for us to address. And this is a systematic thing that we want to talk to you all about, some of the potential solution that we propose moving forward. But before we dive into the solution, I do want to bring up a request by you all about the audit itself. What was the result of it, and what was the recommendation that came out of it? So the audit looked at the data from 2019, pre-pandemic, all the way to 2025. And this examination is looking at the trend of different kind of service requests that we receive. And here are some of the highlights. We had received an increase of over 200% of graffiti incident over that past year, 5 years. We received over another 67% increase since 2019. Overflow of trash and illegal dumping, over 400% increase since 2019. Total work order for the entire staff program had increased over 200%. So the bottom line is it's a issue that we see trending that cannot be addressed only with the current contract obligations. And on that note, the contractor are performing above and beyond what is listed on a contract. On a regular basis, they are visiting each site over 2.5 times per furniture per week. So 2.5 times per week per furniture. The contract only require about 1.6 per week. So they are meeting the application and beyond. The challenge right now is more than just the contract themselves not performing or not performing up to par. It's the increased volume of vandalism in all these requests. Our recommendation and step forward, we are working on a privatization exercise to target location that consider hotspot. So there will be more stop by these contractor at that hotspot locations, and then less on the other that doesn't need that same cleaning or have other kind of resource that already associate with it. Maybe a bit is already taking care of some of these spot, right? So we wanted to make sure that we have a method that fairly judge where location is needed more or less and monitor it, not just release it after we change the scheduled maintenance. The second thing we also plan to do is lessen the target of thing at the amenity for people to tag on. Remove the back panel where it's not needed. This is like a white back panel that people place for various reasons. But if it's not needed for that location, we'll remove it, and that will be less things for people to tag on. The few other thing that our program is also working on is an audit of the other side of the house. At bus stop right now, there's two major players, right? One is the shelter, over 2,000 of them. The other one, we have over almost 5,700 bus bench that also require the same maintenance. So we are auditing the other side of the house to see how we can marry these and align the way they do things out there, so that it's not just optimizing a shelter and not taking care of the bench contract. And that's something that we are working on, and we will present with you a separate audit for the bus bench. And that would lead to our recommendation also for a renewal or the request of proposal for a new bus bench contract. And finally, we are anticipate to submit to the board for a campaign for keeping our bus stop clean to help you get information out there how to get our shelter clean and help keep the shelter clean, because it's not just a solution with our contract continue to increase the maintenance, but also community buying in and also own that location. That's an amenity for them. So we also like to have that campaign and work with you all to sponsor these, and so that we can put that out there on our shelter as part of the public service announcement. Finally, just conclude the maintenance issue. We understand that a lot of eyes on bus stop because it's the most visible and a lot of people stop by it. But it is a more broader issue, and we would recommend if with your leadership to help bring stakeholder together, and we will be at the table to talk about how all the amenity that under staff program and the bus bench program can support the entirety. But we are not the only player at the table. There are a few other that also work at bus stop, and we'd like to under your leadership to bring that cohesiveness across the department and other entity to help address the bus stop cleanliness issue. And with that, I conclude my oral presentation. Let me know if you have any question or other clarification you would like to hear.
Thank you very much. I have several questions, but commissioners, Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you for your report. Did I understand you to say that there's a court challenge pending
Do you
as to the program?
Can you repeat?
A court challenge pending lawsuit?
As far as I know, we don't have any pending.
Okay,
All the legal challenge to the program have been resolved.
okay. And with regard to these maintenance repair issues, pursuant to the contract, who's responsible for maintenance of the staff?
A contractor named Shelter Clean. They've been in and maintain our shelter over 40 years.
So you have some recommendations with regard to, because of the overwhelming need, and obviously you mentioned the current contractual obligation doesn't really address it adequately because of the number of requests for service, right?
That's correct. We do have the listed recommendation that we provided earlier. There are more smaller recommendation, but we like to try all these other things before revisiting contract negotiations.
Okay. If possible, I'd like to be further briefed on it. Maybe we can discuss some resolutions. It might be, like you said, with regard to any further contracts that we might need to be a little bit more creative about how we address ongoing maintenance issues. It's kind of hard with graffiti abatement all over the city in terms of how to prevent it and or act on it sooner, given as large as the city is, these issues aren't confined to any particular area. They're all over, so to speak, even to the extent that, even city signs get graffitied, or with regard to the protests we've had with regard to ICE and those issues, we find that, even the pavement gets graffitied. So I don't know how to address that. Maybe we can talk about that further and develop some ideas, and maybe there's also a possibility of talking about how other cities may address similar concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, I'm happy to ask a couple questions. So I'm a little puzzled by the findings in your audit, because that is not what I've seen, and that is not what I hear. And I think all of us here recently got an email from a constituent saying they reported on January 21. It's been 10 days, no change. The first step that was installed, Western and Olympic, that's been heavily graffitied, damaged for over a month. So you're saying they're going above and beyond, and I know there are challenges for graffiti and others, but in my estimation, I think our graffiti contractors are doing a better job of removing graffiti when reported. Most are completed within 48 to 72 hours. And STEP, there's no funding issue because clearly the revenue is there, and Transito is an external third-party vendor. So they're not restricted by many of the city processes. So I'm not sure where the disconnect is happening, and I'm sure we'll have further thoughts. But in the current contract, what is their contractual agreement to visit? How often do they need to visit each shelter?
So at minimum, let me just give you a quick rundown on this number. Regular visit on-site visual, they have to do at least weekly, 100% of the time, or 100% of the shelter. hotspot, all the preventative and regular maintenance they have to do 3 times per week, up to 30% of the total inventory that we have. Deep cleaning, power washing, and structural repair, they have to do 100% at least once per year, every 6 months. Every 6 months. Every 6 months, at least once.
So if you're saying they're visiting each shelter once a week, clearly they're not visiting once a week. And we're only at 332 shelter constructed with the goal of 3,000. I don't think the graffiti issue is going anywhere anytime soon. So I think this board is very concerned. And I'm sure you heard that the mayor just announced a new clean corridor initiative on major corridors. And these STAP shelters are installed on many of these, major corridors. And if, the city is maintaining our responsibility of cleaning the streets and the sidewalks and the weed abatement, but if the STAP shelters are looking like it is today, that is going to be very problematic. So,
Yeah. Just one point of clarification. The 300 is the new one that we put in. We still have over 1,600 of legacy shelter that's still being maintained to transition out. So total, we have over 1,800 shelter with trash receptacle on many of those sites to be maintained. With that though, we also have the same kind of input from constituent and various entity about this kind of maintenance concern. One of the things that we express and put in other budget request in the coming year is to get more eyes and ear to better quality control the contractor. Currently, our staff is small and focusing on a lot of implementation and overseeing the service requests that coming in and make sure the contract perform those. The quality and the level of service that we need for them to perform would need additional staff for us to keep an eye out there. It doesn't have to be all us. It could be other people who could help monitor this constituent bit who see things. We like to see that those reported to us so we can actually keep these contractor and hold them to their quality of that we expect. So we understand on the audit itself, it's based on purely number that was reported based on the system that was generated by the system. How the quality of their work at each of these locations, we request that we have additional staff to help us monitor these kind of and manage that activity better.
so what would be, are there any penalties or repercussions about them not meeting the contractual obligations?
Yes. So there is ability for us to cite them. For the first incident that they don't meet that obligation, it's a few $100, and then
How much
$250. Let me just get that number for you exactly.
per site,
Per incident.
per incident?
So we report it and they didn't address it, right? That's escalate, and we can do as many as. So this become, hey, get it done, right?
What if it wasn't reported, but they're not doing their weekly checks?
The system that they are reporting in shown that they are. If the narrative and what we shown out there isn't aligned, we will dive deeper into those number as well, and also perform additional internal audit about the quality rather than the number of visits. Again, the process right now, because of staffing issue for our bureau, we focus on the higher level management of the program. And in order for us to go out there and do more of a quality check spot by spot on a regular basis, we asked to get more resource, and we did request it as part of the upcoming year budget.
And anything higher than the 250?
Yes, this an escalating cost. I can provide it back to you here. The second incident, this increased to additional cost. The third incident, so it's escalating and will continue until they address the issue. So again, I think the major thing that we can hold them to the fire is report, get more people to report and keep an eye on it, and so that we can see whether they are meeting that obligation or not, and we can use that to help them um, change their practice.
What would be the most severe penalty that the city can levy on Transito?
Will be the contract itself, right? But that's a very extreme end. But there is a financial penalty for each incident that can be imposed until it resolved, and it could be very significant for a contractor that operating their at the very optimal of their program. Their people are working really stretch for to meet the city need right now. So will be a big penalty if we start issuing those citations.
Last question, and then I'll have the commissioners chime in as well, so after they are reported, how quickly do they need to respond? What's the expectation?
So for emergency, within 24 hours, broken glass or
Okay.
something like that cause some harm, a car hit it or something, we need to address it and remove the challenge out of the way, at least mitigate it, right? We might take some more time to replace the glass and other things because it takes time to order those in, but they have to get someone out there within 24 hours. The regular request, the obligation for the contract is within the week.
Within 1 week, you're saying?
1 week.
1 week? Okay. Commissioner, President Pro Tem Grant.
That's all. I may have not turned on my mic. I may have not heard this, but with respect to the scheduled visits, every site is supposed to be visited weekly.
That's right.
Is there a report out of just because they visit it, do they maintain or clean it, or it could just be a drive-by with no action taken. So apart from the request where someone takes the initiative, a resident takes the initiative on their own, I think one aspect we're looking at is what is the obligation and responsibility that Transito is taking when they visit every week. Do we know how many repairs, how many cleaning up, repairing that they're doing each week? Do we get a report?
We do, and that's also part of the audit that was reported out. The visit is the primary driver on getting the eye out there and generate work. For location that need power washing, they will be creating a new work order for them to go out and actually perform those power washing. So we have the work order creation associated with each site after that visit.
And we have those numbers for each week, how many power washes, how many repairs are being done?
That's correct. And that's where the number that I reported at the beginning of the presentation came from, the number of vandalism, the number of graffiti. Okay. So those are recorded as part of that visit.
And similarly, on the hotspots, which are visited 3 times a week, my assumption would be that there are repairs or washing at least one of those three visits a week, correct?
Can you repeat?
Well, the hotspots are visited 3 times a week, as I understood.
That's correct.
And we have report on those of those 3 visits a week for the hotspots. What action's been taken on those? Is that also listed in the audit?
So similar on the regular location, the hotspot get the same type of treatment, just more frequent. Trash are empty and any loose debris, graffiti, stickers and stuff get removed, right? So those hotspot is increased frequencies.
And the list of hotspots, how is that determined and how often is that updated?
So the hotspot itself, the list is determined by the number of work order that gets generated.
By the number of what?
the work order that generated per of each of these location. The reprioritization or revisiting that list, it's based on the adjustment of that work order that get generated. We, as part of this exercise, we want to incorporate a more thorough way to prioritize. When we consider hotspot, it may not be the same as how they see as hotspot. For them, it's just the number of frequency, right? For us, it's also including the importance of those locations and the how the cleanliness that also provided by external entity at that locations. So again, this is something that we would like to revisit ourselves in the coming month to reprioritize those hotspots. And we're happy to share those results.
Thank you. Vice President Chavez.
Thank you. I had some questions about just the rate. I know that there has been challenges on the installations with parts procurement, delays, initial challenges with coordination. How are we today in terms of the rate of installations, the coordination with the, internal bureaus and public works, both BSL and BCA, as well as LADWP? Are we in a good place? And what's our rate of installation currently?
So our current rate of installation is roughly around 20 or so per month. So about 1 to 2 per day. Like I brought up at the beginning of the presentation, we know what are the landscape of the implementation are now. The challenge here is within that parameter of that landscape, how can we make things faster? The main bottleneck for us right now is the ability to energize and activate our shelter with DWP. And this is a resource constraint that we seeing on a regular basis. We install a shelter out there that's have no power until someone go out there and connect us to power. And in some cases, we wait a while. So that's where we are in terms of that primary bottleneck for us, is that resource constraint to come out and do our energization at bus stop.
And are you, as staff, actively working at improving, whether it's expediting or improving the coordination or whatever information that is needed? Is this more on the LADWP like permitting side, or is this just where is the source of getting the approvals? I know it depends, but
correct.
Where are most of them?
To answer your question, we are. In fact, we have a regular check-in with each of these departments on a weekly, some cases bi-weekly basis, and DWP is one of them. The permitting and the review side, I think we're at a pace that we're comfortable to move things along. But the constraint is the construction crew that need to go out there and actually connect us to power or, create a new service location for our program. So it's more of the field side that is constrained. And this is something that we understand that there are other demand on them across the city. They are not only supporting staff program. So they are doing what they can. In terms of process, it's an ongoing thing. And we have there at the table with us to figure out the challenge. But again, I think this is bottom line is resource to how we can bring more shelter online. Each day we don't energize, we lose money, right? And bus stop will be less safe. How can we bring our bus stop priority above some of the other? It's a significant loss and we won't get it back. Once you lose that advertisement window, you're not going to regain that money back for the city.
So what's the plan to address that?
So we've been in active communication with the DOP to see the commitment that they are willing to go out there and address on a weekly basis, 10 to 12 location per week. We are not seeing that number yet for various reasons. Maybe there are, a rain events or other holiday issue. We have not seen the 10 to 12 that we were expecting, and that's become a main bottleneck for our program.
And so the bottleneck on the utility coordination, I understand that is not necessarily revenue funded, but the positions at street services and street lighting are, correct? And BCA as well, right? They're basically, it's this unique model where we're specifically have identified positions and funding to cover the costs of that work because this is revenue generating for the city. Have there been, or do you expect any future impacts to those staffing levels given the budget situation? Have you heard of any potential issues coming down the fray so that we know? Because again, these are revenue funded. They're not special funded per se, but they're revenue generating positions. So I want to make sure that wanted to hear from you if there's any concerns on the budgeting side.
The projected staff revenue is, like I reported, it's continue to look positive and stable moving forward. At the very least, we can sustain the existing staff that is funded, right, for BCA, BSL, and BSS. But again, the constraint of other department that is not funded by our revenue is where we run into issue. We don't fund them and we don't control that pace. But our revenue on our side, it continue to be positive and look like the trend is growing. So we don't see that as an issue. Where that become an issue is as the program grow, we need to install more site. The capital for those are taking from the same bucket of money. And so that's where, as the trends grow, we like to also do more site based on those revenue increase. But we don't anticipate seeing the funding for that part decreasing. We also seeing a lot of interest in grant developer and Metro specifically to invest into bus stop infrastructure. In fact, in next few weeks, I'll be coming before the board asking for authorization to execute part of year 2 of our agreement with Metro, which is worth around $16 million that Metro will be investing into staff program. So in terms of funding, I don't anticipate that we have that major challenge moving forward, but I think the pace and the control of the installation will become a major issue for at least the folk outside the department, the sphere of influence by the staff program.
Okay. And then shifting over to maintenance, your report talks about obviously the overwhelming maintenance demands that were not foreseen when we issued the contract. But obviously it's a new day and we're seeing increases of dramatic proportions that we haven't seen in a long time. I see that the contractor did submit a plan in October outlining data-driven strategies and reallocating maintenance resources. Have any of these been implemented?
So the reason why we have implemented one of the back panel removal at Sabah Pacific site. The reason why we are taking slower action is because we need to justify each of these actions, because we are taking a certain maintenance activity for a location and put it somewhere else. We need to be make sure that we do it systematic and show that this actually doesn't have a negative impact on the location that are getting less, right? That's why we wanted to make sure we create a structure to actually review each of these locations, each of these actions, so that we don't just broadly put out a lot of these initiatives without monitoring and seeing result before we put it out citywide. So the one that I'm bringing talk about today is the back panel removal, right? We working on a few removal to see how would that work first. Did that removing that panel actually lessen the graffiti, or people simply put the graffiti on another part of the shelter? So we want to study and make sure that we're not just implement a solution citywide without having a thought and a process to review whether something is working effectively or not. So that's where it takes us a time to develop that process and see, make sure that these approach that we propose are roll out in a methodical fashions. But again, we are at that phase that we are able to see more of those rollout of these solution that proposed by the contractor, because we have the process in place now. So you'll see few location here with shelter back panel remove, a location hotspot that gets shift around and monitor the effectiveness of this. So again, we at that stage where we can start seeing a lot of those improvement.
Okay, can you include in the next update more detail about what's been implemented and when, and what the, what the data shows in terms of has this been effective or not? Because if this was submitted in October, now we're in February, and you're waiting to justify, I'm still unclear by whom, and then you're testing certain ideas right now. Is that correct? Are you in the process of testing certain things?
That's correct.
Okay.
So let me give you just a quick example. Back panel. It's simple, right? Just remove it. But we are looking at a parameter on what criteria should we select to remove those back panel, because there are, if it's behind a gas station that could use it for a barrier against traffic. So there are criteria need to be created to see, hey, what is a list of location that we can test out without having major impact, but also measuring what is success look like. Decrease by 5%, is that effective? Or increase by 50%? So that kind of success matrix. We know that this is something that we should be execute as fast as we can as well, but we do want to do it methodically so that we don't roll this out citywide and seeing a bigger blowback on the new solutions.
I mean, I know we tend to address the symptoms as opposed to the root causes of vandalism and dumping and graffiti. But I'm just curious if what, if any, coordination currently exists with LAPD or sanitation or homeless outreach teams or Office of Community Beautification, graffiti abatement teams. Are you sharing, is this information being shared? Like, for example, if there's a serious issue, at a shelter, I would hope that that's being reported. It's a public safety item, but I just think information sharing, especially hotspots, is that being actively shared with other departments?
So for the trash receptacle, that's the one, the primary one that we coordinate.
With, I'm sorry, what?
Trash receptacle.
Oh, trash receptacle, yeah.
Yeah, this is the one that we primarily coordinate a lot with sanitations. And so sanitation actually getting a lot of their requests and routed to our program when it is on our shelter or on our bench. So that coordination happened during the service request stage. And where I think we need to take a step further is actually identify sites that need more of those trash receptacle. Cleanliness of this area need increase, whether that's from the staff program or the bus bench program or sanitation, right? I think there's a gap that we can improve there. The other discussion around LAPD, this is something that is an ongoing issue. We have repeated location that have vandalism, breaking glasses, same location, and this is with the support from LAPD. We report those to make sure it get into a record, so that further investigation and track down on perpetrator. in terms of graffiti abatement with OCB and other, this is an area also that we wanted to bring all the pieces together. As I mentioned at the beginning of the oral report, our bureau and our program will continue to optimize the way bus stop with our amenity maintained. But again, we're not the only one. If we, continue have conversation and with your leadership to bring a lot of these entity to the table, would really appreciate and bring our solution more holistic rather than just individual location or individual program that have a certain stake at bus stop. So yes, I agree. That's the next piece that we would be interested in continue that conversation with other agency to improve that quality of service.
Okay, so I mean, I would recommend we put together a working group with all the affected entities. I want LA Sanitation there, I want OCB there and their contractors. We need someone from LAPD. I think that, and also the homeless outreach teams. I think that I've seen a lot of camping at STAP locations. I think we need to sort of address sort of deterrence. I know, a novel concept. Things like, enhanced cameras, lighting, extra lighting. Are there street lights out? I bet you there are near these locations. And so just have a better coordinated method of addressing some of these issues. Because as you said, there might be graffiti and vandalism happening at that shelter, but I guarantee you there's other activity happening in that area. And I think if everyone is on notice, everyone who's doing work in that vicinity is on notice that there's extra eyes and ears on it, there can be better communication to address and help deter some of this activity and make it safer for the people that are riding transit.
Appreciate that. And your leadership would be very much needed for bring the conversation together, and we'll bring all the contractor and making sure that they are abide by the contractual obligation and even beyond. So thank you for your leadership for that.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Cardenas.
Yeah, thank you. Just going back to the citations or the infractions, how many locations have had a first, second, or even a third infraction imposed because they didn't complete the work or didn't satisfactorily hold up their end of the contract?
We have not issued any citations, so from we have not issued any of those infraction or citation for not meeting the quality of and the contractual obligations, because again, the data has shown that they have meet those obligations.
So they met their obligations, self-reported, met their obligations? So, I mean, based on the information that we're getting from the community, it looks like locations haven't been meeting those obligations. So I find it, both things can't be true. So something's going on here. And moving on to the construction, you were saying there's approximately 20 plus locations per month that are slated or scheduled for installation. Was that the right number I was listening to?
Yeah, month to month is
roughly 20 plus.
Yes.
But some of those aren't getting the power installations that are needed, and like you're saying, because there's no power, the city's not getting their revenue. But we're just continuing on to the next month and starting another 20. So what's the, if the first month isn't getting completed and you're working on the second month, what's the backlog on the power installations that are accumulating, say when you get to month number 3?
Right, but I just want to also, they are doing some, not at the rate that.
No, that's exactly. They're doing some, which means they're not doing others.
Yeah.
And the ones that are not being done are still not done, and we're going on to next month and building another 20. Not all of the 20 are have power requirements, but that number isn't getting smaller, it's getting bigger in terms of the backlog of the power that's being installed. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's correct. Right now, we balloon to roughly 20, 30 locations of location that need some sort of actions, either connect to power or pull new service point.
So does it make sense to continue doing power locations if the power backlog, I mean, would it make sense to go ahead and just install the ones that don't require power until the backlog is completed? That way the number of locations you have to go back to complete isn't getting bigger. Is that logical, or does that make sense? Or are we thinking about anything like that?
Even if we don't have power for location that do sidewalk construction and transit shelter, is still providing that benefit of shade and advertisement during the day.
Understood. But what you're saying earlier is the city wasn't benefiting from the advertisement, right?
For location that is digital. For location
For the digital.
digital, because you flat screen. In the cases where we have the static, the poster one, those during the day can be seen, just not at night.
Correct. Okay, so just curious on how that's working. What's the number of, you said there was roughly 1,400 existing shelters?
1,600.
1,600, thank you. So what's the number or percentage of locations that are considered on the hotspot list? Do you know what that number is?
So 30% of the 1,800.
Approximately, or 30% are
currently slightly lower, but we're working to bring that back up to 30% of the contractual obligation. The number could, enter and exit. So this flux throughout each on a regular basis. But we're trying to get that ceiling.
I understood trying to do it, but say we install another 300 locations, and all 300 of those are hotspot locations, so the percent of hotspots are going to go up, right? So it's not a static number. It is what it is in terms of hotspot locations of locations that have to be monitored on a regular basis and need more attention. So is that how are we going to figure that out? I mean, when the locations are being reviewed prior to construction, are we looking at the amount of graffiti in the area or the amount of homeless activity that's going on in the area? What goes into that discussion pre-construction to figure out, okay, we know this is going to be a hotspot, and the contractor is going to know day one it's going to be a hotspot. Is that the communication that's happening with our vendor?
The current process, that hotspot identification happened after.
Can't hear you.
The current process, the hotspot identification happened after.
Understood, but can you agree that some locations it's going to be a hotspot?
We can. Again, it's up to us to establish criteria and when we input this location into the hotspot list.
Okay, so day one they're going to know, you know what, this one's going to be a problem. We got to stay on top of it.
That's correct.
Okay.
We can, and I think that's a great suggestion for us to take 3-in-1 and other graffiti vandalism information to our design process and the construction process, so that we could on day one have that as part of this. So 30%, every 3 of them that we put in, 1 of them could be hotspot.
Okay. Well, I see, I mean, this is a great program. I don't want to be all negative, but we have to understand that once we increase our numbers and we get up to the additional 1,400 plus or 1,300 plus, when we complete the 3,000 locations, we need to really have a good understanding of how we're going to maintain these, because building's one thing, maintenance never ends. So we need to make sure that we're on top of that and that we do it successfully, so that the city can benefit, as much as they can, and still keep these locations for the public accessible and safe. So I look forward to seeing what our plan is going forward. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any last minute comments or questions, commissioners?
Yes. Is it possible to get a copy of the report?
Can you repeat?
Do you have the report sent to all the commissioners so we can actually review it? And if we have some further questions or comments, we can direct them directly to you.
A report for the,
Is there an audit report?
yes,
Okay,
yeah, we can definitely share. This is a copy, right?
okay. We just want you to make it available to the commissioners through the executive officer.
Yes, we
Thank-
can share this after the meeting.
Thank you.
All right. Any other last minute questions or comments? So we would, give it the urgency of the item, I would like to reschedule for you to come back sooner than later. So we'll coordinate with our executive officer and our team to schedule another briefing in the next couple of weeks to follow up. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I believe that concludes
That's
our
everything.
items
Yep.
for today. All right, thank you very much. Our next regular meeting of the Board of Public Works will be on Friday, February 6, 2026. The meeting is now adjourned at 11:08 a.m.